Hey guys, Flip Flop here. Today I'm going to be making a video of me giving you guys a quick passing tutorial in Madden, particularly Madden 25, our current edition of the game obviously. One really quick disclaimer before we start is that all the footage you're seeing is from my connected franchise, my 32-man league that I run on Discord. I recommend you join it if you want to. We could use some guys and it's really fun. But the big twist about that though is not just any regular Discord league. This is a league with realistic gameplay sliders. I've mentioned it before on my channel, but we have the passing reduced, the catching reduced, the fumbles increased, and all the sliders and gameplay settings set to real life NFL football tendencies to make it as purely realistic as possible. And so with the passing reduced, it makes it a lot harder to pass. But at the same time, if you can follow these tips and tutorials successfully on my settings, like you'll see in the video, then it's 1,000 times easier when you're in online head-to-head or when you're playing in a regular league with default sliders. So this is the big boy stuff right here. If you can duplicate these tips, you'll do even better than what you see on film right here, if that makes sense. But without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this tutorial right here will include 6 clips, 3 good examples and 3 bad examples. And the examples that I'm referring to have nothing to do with the quarterback that the player is using, and it has everything to do specifically with the stick work, with how the player controls their quarterback in the game. So let's get right into it. I'm going to show a good example of something, and then I'm going to show a bad example of the same thing, and I'm going to do that 3 times. So a good followed by a bad. Let's start with a good example of pocket presence. This clip right here is from the Chiefs user in my league. Even though the Chiefs are my favorite team, I use the Vikings in my league, and so a different guy uses the Chiefs. And so this is in the final 13 seconds of the game. He's losing by 4 points. Let's look at the play. Patrick Mahomes drops back, steps up, throws a laser across the field to Xavier Worthy for the winning touchdown. It looks simple, looks very common for what Mahomes does in real life, but let's break it down a little bit, see how he was able to do this and how you can do it as well with any quarterback. So at the start of the snap, he does drop back kind of far in the pocket, but look right here. He steps up, taking several steps forward, and he has a perfect window to throw that dart to Xavier Worthy. And it's so important to step up in the pocket like he did. A lot of people overlook this, but what you don't realize, what some people don't realize, is that when you step up in the pocket like that, for one, you're helping shift your momentum forward. Any person, no matter who they are, will be able to throw a ball longer and harder if they're stepping forward with their momentum versus if they're falling backwards away from the target. That's just common sense and basic physics. And secondly, when you step up in the pocket, you decrease the throwing distance by a good 5 to 7 yards. How much easier is it to throw a 20-yard pass versus a 25-yard pass? You know what I mean? And so this guy did that perfectly. Just a perfect example of pocket presence. Next up, here's a bad example of pocket presence. So we have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's not quite Mahomes, but he's still a decent quarterback, don't get me wrong. This is a different previous league that we were in. That's why he's on the Packers. This was a fantasy draft league. But anyways, look right here. So Sam Darnold drops back, looks like a simple out route, but it gets intercepted. Wasn't quite in the right spot. And you might be thinking, oh, it's just your stupid sliders flip-flop. Like, no, it's not. People that don't know ball think my sliders are stupid, but they could not be more of an accurate representation to real football. I would dare say this is the most realistic football league in Madden history. I would stand on that adamantly. Anyways, not bragging about my league. What I meant to show is why was this throw so poor? Well, look right here. So he gets the snap and he drops back so far, like 5 to 7 yards from where he got the ball, and he's already in the shotgun 5 to 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So he's already like 11 to 13 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he's throwing the ball. He never steps up into the throw to get extra momentum or body weight forward. He at least planted his left foot in the ground a little bit, but he made the throw a lot longer and without nearly as much momentum as he could have had. And the receiver's running the out route. He throws it kind of late. There's only like 3 horizontal yards of space, maybe 5 yards to get it between the defender and the sideline, and he just simply doesn't have the arm for it. Even Mahomes might not be able to make that throw with that sort of user stick work anyways. And so it's just thrown late, thrown without momentum, thrown further than it had to be. Just an easy interception for me. He was playing against me in that clip, actually. And so that's the difference between good and bad pocket presence. So important. Anyways, next up, let's look at good and bad examples of deep passes. So this right here is me with Justin Fields in the same league. I got him on the Saints. We got Tyreek Hill going in motion. We snap the ball. Tyreek Hill gets a step on the defender. Justin Fields launches it. Perfect deep ball. Tyreek Hill chases it down just like he always does in real life. Beautiful play. How was it possible, though? So let's look at the play. We snapped the ball, and Justin Fields, I dropped back a little bit, took maybe 2 steps back, but you can see I'm firm. I'm flat-footed. I have a solid base around my legs, and I'm able to fully release the ball, get a clean follow-through with no defender in my vicinity, and that's a good example of how you can just get a good 50-yard pass off in stride to Tyreek Hill. Perfectly realistic. And let me show you a bad example, though, of a deep pass attempt. This is also by me, so I have the good and the bad example of this one. So again, we got Justin Fields. We drop back, and Tyreek Hill's going deep, but this time way underthrown. Oh, my goodness. The ball way underthrown into triple coverage. Thank goodness it wasn't intercepted. Why was the pass thrown so bad? What was so different about this clip from the first one? Well, look right here. So I get the snap, and the drop back is about the same as the first one. But look right there. There's a defender, a pass rusher that broke through the line, and he is right there in my throwing path. So even though I kind of have a firm base with my lower body, I can't really step into the throw the way that I would have wanted to. And you kind of tend to short arm it. Quarterbacks will in real life and in Madden if there's a defender in your vicinity right there. And so the ball just comes up way short. This happens all the time in real life, and it's not even necessarily the quarterback's fault. But if this happens, at least understand why it happened to you. You know what I mean? And so that's perfectly logical and understandable. Again, people are going to say that your league is stupid, your sliders are BS and unrealistic, but they just don't know ball. There's no better accurate representation of real life than my Madden franchises with the adjustments that I've made to it. And so last clip right here, last pair of clips I should say, this is a good and bad example of throwing on the move. Right here we got Caleb Williams on the 49ers. This guy's playing against me actually in the NFC Championship. And so gets a snap, rolls out to his left a little quickly, nothing wrong with that. Sees a receiver in the end zone, throws a dart to him about 30 yards. Beautiful throw by Caleb. How is that possible, though? Let's go back. So at the start of the snap, as I mentioned, he gets it, rolls out to his left, but look right here. All of his body weight is shifted to the left where he's running. He's literally facing towards the sideline on the left side. If he had just pressed the Y button and thrown it right then, that pass would have been underthrown like 20 yards. It would have been probably intercepted or way out of bounds. An awful throw. Even in real life, the most arm-talented QBs like Allen and Mahomes would have had a hard time making the throw if they're facing the sideline while they're doing it. But look right here what this guy does instead. Instead of pressing the button right then, he takes about 2 extra steps towards the middle of the field and aligns his shoulders and his hips right with the target in the end zone. And then now he decides to throw it with all of his body weight shifted towards the target, with the momentum of his running going towards where he's throwing the ball. Perfect example of utilizing physics and body mechanics to his advantage, and that's why the throw came out so perfectly. Even on my sliders with the passing significantly reduced, he made a good throw. Perfect example by him. And lastly, here's a poor example of throwing on the move. This isn't really entirely the user's fault, but there's a logical explanation for why the throw was missed so bad. So first of all, he has Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs ain't the best quarterback in the world, so that ain't gonna help. But look right here. So he drops back with Dobbs, and he sees the receiver open, the tight end, and just throws it really quickly. But the ball sails like 20 yards over his head. And you might be thinking, that was such a short throw. How did he sail it so bad? Even Josh Dobbs, how did he miss it so bad? Well, look a little more closely right here. at the start of the snap, Dobbs is dropping back, and he sees the tight end open right then, and so your natural instinct is to want to try to just get the ball out to him as quick as possible. But he doesn't have a firm base. His feet are not set. His momentum shifted backwards. He's basically throwing on an uneven platform. And so Madden's animations don't make it look as bad as it is. But let me show you guys an example of how that would look in real life. Isn't that so silly? I know it looks goofy me trying to do it because I'm not a professional quarterback, but golly, guys, Josh Dobbs is not out there throwing passes like that, falling away in real life. Most quarterbacks aren't. That's like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar type of a throw, Joe Burrow even. But golly, quarterbacks just aren't doing that 24/7. And I know the pass looked like it wasn't very far, so he should have completed it anyways. But 15 to 20 yards is farther than you might think. Go out in your front yard and measure 15 to 20 yards. That's a legit 45 to 60 feet. It's not a short distance. And not to mention trying to see over the offensive lineman and the defensive lineman if you don't have a perfect window to see the tight end at, and then trying to throw it over the head of the defender that's beneath the tight end. It just is not as much a piece of cake as people make it out to be all the time. You get what I mean? But all right, guys, that right there will sum up my passing tutorial. And this is, again, on my franchise settings with significantly harder passing. So people in my league can do good under these circumstances than those of you that are playing just regular online head-to-head or in normal franchises should be able to easily bomb it out for 500 yards and 10 touchdowns a game easily. And if you're interested in a challenge, though, if you want to join my league, we could use more users. I would love to have you guys that are watching. But I hope y'all enjoyed this little tutorial. Hope some of the information helped. Y'all be sure to let me know in the comments what kind of stuff you guys want to see. I hope you all have an incredibly blessed day, and I will catch y'all in the next video.